Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If copy system in Naruto. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 361, Want to trick me? No way. The battle began. Might Guy faced Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hashigaki alone. This was an incredibly difficult fight for Guy. Especially against Itachi, Guy didn't dare make eye contact, fearing he'd fall victim to Genjutsu. Itachi didn't use Genjutsu either. He didn't want to kill Guy. Itachi still firmly believed he was an undercover agent. Naturally, he wouldn't kill an elite Konoha ninja like Might Guy. Kakashi is here too. Shin, sipping sake in the tavern, spoke softly. Sure enough, shortly after Shin spoke, Kakashi Hatake used the body flicker technique to arrive. A large group of Konoha ninja followed, surrounding Itachi and Kisame. Watching their fight is a bit boring. If it were me, a single truth-seeking orb would wipe them all out, Tsunade said, pouting. Shin looked at Tsunade, somewhat speechless. Your truth-seeking orbs are thanks to my power. Once you learn Kekkei Mora and can create your own, then you can brag. However, that was difficult. Kekkei Mora wasn't something just anyone could master. It was one of the highest forms of power in the Naruto world. What are the chances of Konoha's ninja capturing them? Tsunade asked Shin, resting her chin on her hand. That depends on when Jiraiya arrives. If Jiraiya gets here quickly enough, they might be able to hold them. Conversely, if Jiraiya was too slow, it would be too late. They couldn't possibly stop Itachi and Kisame. At this moment, Itachi and Kisame were already attempting to break through. Kakashi, renowned for being able to fight anyone to a standstill, was taken down by Itachi's Tsukuyami. However, using Tsukuyami again took a toll on Itachi. His condition wasn't good. Kisame Hashigaki protected him as they fled. With their strength, if they wanted to escape, Konoha ninja couldn't catch them. And those strong enough to pursue wouldn't dare. Kakashi, are you alright? Guy anxiously carried Kakashi on his back and rushed towards the Konoha hospital. Sasuke Uchiha was also taken to the Konoha hospital. I wanted to see Itachi Uchiha use Susanoo. Looks like I won't get the chance, Shin said, shaking his head slightly. However, if Itachi did use Susanoo, he would likely be on the verge of blindness. The Mangekyo Sharingan, while powerful, was also fragile. Overuse easily led to blindness. It won't be long before the Akatsuki makes its move. Shin stood up, paid his bill, and left the tavern with Tsunade. Meaning, the Eye of the Moon plan is about to begin. I'm actually a little excited. A look of anticipation appeared in Tsunade's eyes. You're excited? Shin looked at Tsunade in surprise. He never expected Tsunade to be the type who reveled in chaos. Yes, I feel excited. Is there a problem with that? Tsunade leaned against Shin. No problem. But you reek of alcohol, it's quite unpleasant. Shin pushed Tsunade away with a look of distaste. Ha! Shin, you jerk. How dare you look down on me? Tsunade feigned embarrassment and anger, then threw herself onto Shin, hugging him tightly. I'll show you what unpleasant really means. Alright, Tsunade was already a bit drunk. Shin looked at the intoxicated Tsunade. He found this version of her quite cute. Her flushed cheeks looked very appealing. Shin couldn't resist kissing Tsunade's cheek, then carried her to the inn where they were temporarily staying. We'll leave Konoha tomorrow. What do you think, Tsunade? Shin asked. You decide. This time, Tsunade didn't object. She had already had enough of Konoha, it held no interest for her anymore. She had also spent a long time alone with Shin. If they didn't go back soon, Kushina would probably come storming over in a rage. After resting for the night, Shin and Tsunade left Konoha the next morning and returned to the land of whirlpools. Damn it! You two finally decided to come back. Did you forget all about us? Kushina asked Shin fiercely. That's right. Shin had already forgotten about you all. If I hadn't reminded him to come back, Shin probably wouldn't have wanted to return, Tsunade said with a smile to Kushina and the others. Is that true? Kushina's expression changed, becoming very unsettling. And not just Kushina, Makoto's and Mei Terumi's glares could curdle milk. Even Konan looked at Shin reproachfully. Shin nii, is it true? Konan asked Shin. Of course not. Tsunade's lying. It was me who wanted to come back, but Tsunade insisted on dragging me to stay in Konoha. Shin glared at Tsunade, who'd just thrown him under the bus. He'd remember this. I believe Shin nii. Konan believed Shin with unwavering conviction. Honestly, I believe Shin too. Whatever this woman says, there's absolutely no credibility to it. Kushina pouted at Tsunade, then sided with Shin. Based on my judgment and analysis, Tsunade-ne, the probability of you lying is very high, Makoto said after looking at Tsunade for a while. That's right, I think so too. Mei Terumi also nodded in agreement, feeling Tsunade's words weren't very trustworthy. See? Shin smiled at Tsunade. He knew no one would believe Tsunade's words. She tried to set him up, but it had backfired. Tsunade looked indignant. She couldn't help but ask them, why don't you believe my words? Makoto smiled faintly at Tsunade and said, the reason is simple, Tsunade-ne. You said you reminded him to come back. Is that even possible? Tsunade was stunned into silence. Actually deceiving us, you need to be punished for that, Kushina said with a mischievous grin. If she could punish Tsunade, Kushina would probably laugh in her sleep. I'm not feeling well. I'm going back to my room. Tsunade, seeing the grin on Kushina's face, sensed trouble and quickly retreated to her room, locking the door behind her. She ran away. What a pity. Kushina looked disappointed. Kushina then turned her gaze to Shin and immediately grabbed his arm. Humph. Tsunade ran away, but you can't escape. You have to be punished too. Kushina huffed coldly. I agree with that. Shin needs to be punished, Makoto unhesitatingly agreed with Kushina. Mei Terumi followed suit, leaving only Konan looking indecisive. Makoto, I misjudged you. You're no longer that gentle and kind Makoto. Shin looked at Makoto, who wore a sly smile, clearly thinking about how to punish him, and sighed. Chapter 362, Marrying Off My Sister to You. Shin ran a hand through his messy, bird's nest-like hair, then tried to smooth out his clothes. Well, no point. They were practically shredded into strips, he'd just have to change. Ha 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 ha. Kushina burst out laughing at Shin's sorry state. Shin, you look exactly like a beggar. Shin shot Kushina a fierce glare. Still laughing? I look like this because of you. Just you wait. I'll get you back for this. Kushina, Makoto, and Mei Terumi had ganged up on him earlier to punish him, leaving him in this state. Only Konan had been good and hadn't joined in. Shin felt he absolutely had to reward Konan. When it mattered, Konan was always good to him. Even Makoto couldn't be relied upon. After tidying himself up, Shin went to his room, changed clothes, and emerged looking as handsome as ever. Where are Karen, Hinata, and Hanabi? Why aren't they home? Shin asked Makoto, puzzled. They went to train. Hinata is teaching Hanabi the gentle fist, and Karen went along to watch, Makoto replied. Shin's eyes showed a hint of surprise. That lazy bum Hanabi went to train? That's quite astonishing. I'll go check on them. Shin left the house and headed towards the training grounds. Not far from their residence was a training ground Shin had constructed. They usually trained there. However, the women hadn't trained much recently, so the place was somewhat overgrown with weeds. I'll have Makoto use fire release to clear the weeds another day. Big sis, you're the teacher. Why do you look more nervous than me? Hanabi asked her sister Hinata, somewhat exasperated. Hinata looked down guiltily, fidgeting with her small hands. It can't be helped. She had never been a teacher before. She was worried she wouldn't be able to teach Hanabi properly, especially since it was her little sister. She couldn't afford to be careless. Hinata, I also think you're way too nervous. Just teach Hanabi the way Shinsama taught you. It'll be fine, Karen advised Hinata. Hinata took a deep breath to calm herself, then said to Hanabi, Hanabi, watch me perform it once first. Slowing her movements, Hinata demonstrated the gentle fist art, 8 trigrams 64 palms. She deliberately moved slowly so Hanabi could see clearly. Hinata, teaching Hanabi like this won't work. Her physical conditioning and chakra levels aren't there yet. Shin arrived at the training ground, observed Hinata teaching Hanabi, and gently shook his head. Ah. Shin nii. Hinata immediately stopped, her eyes lighting up with pleasant surprise as she looked at Shin. Shinsama, you're back. Karen, much bolder than the reserved Hinata, rushed towards Shin. Shin caught Karen as she leaped towards him, then gently set her down. However, Karen continued to cling to him, refusing to let go, much to Shin's exasperation. Shin decided to let Karen be. Karen hugged Shin, her eyes sparkling with joy. Shin hadn't pushed her away. Did this mean she had a chance? Instantly, Karen drifted into a world of fantasy, a slightly lecherous expression appearing on her face. However, Karen buried her face in Shin's chest, so her expression remained unseen. Big sis, aren't you jealous? Hanabi sidled up to Hinata, poked her arm, and whispered. Hanabi was quite perceptive. Seeing Hinata's dejected expression, Hanabi knew her sister must be envious of Karen. Hanabi, what are you saying? Hinata's face instantly turned crimson, and she became flustered. Big sis, I'm not trying to criticize you, but sometimes you have to be proactive to get what you want. Hanabi said, looking at Hinata with an expression of exasperated disappointment. If you say that again, I'm not talking to you anymore. Hinata covered Hanabi's mouth. If Hanabi continued, Hinata might actually faint from embarrassment. Hanabi, I didn't expect to see you training. Shin walked over and patted Hanabi's small head. This head pat felt incredibly comforting to Hanabi, so she deliberately moved closer to Shin. Shin nii, can you hug me too? Hanabi blinked, tugging at Shin's arm and asking coquettishly. Karen, still nestled in Shin's embrace, abruptly lowered her head and looked at Hanabi. Hanabi met Karen's gaze with a provocative look. They hadn't been getting along very well recently. Karen gritted her teeth. This little brat. But Karen couldn't do anything to Hanabi. After all, Hanabi was just a child, she couldn't bully her. Not this time, Shin looked at Karen, then at Hanabi. Karen, though still developing, at least had something. As for Hanabi, this little loli, sorry, just a flat little loli. So Shin felt that hugging Karen was much more comfortable. Oh whoa! I'll bite you to death. Hanabi bit Shin's hand. You and Kushina are both like little puppies, always biting. Shin tapped Hanabi's small head with his other hand. Hanabi, in pain, had no choice but to let go. Damn it! You bullied me. I'll. Hanabi wanted to threaten Shin but didn't know how. She wore a frustrated expression. Just you wait. Once I'm stronger, I'm gonna pound you so hard you'll look like mashed potatoes. Hanabi threatened Shin. Oh? You're quite ambitious. Alright, I'll be waiting for that day. Shin patted Hanabi's small head, his expression unconcerned. Damn it! You're not taking me seriously, are you? I swear, I will definitely defeat you in the future. Hanabi, seeing Shin's indifferent expression, felt incredibly indignant. Oh? And what if you can't do it? You don't believe me? If I really can't, then I'll marry my sister to you. How about that? Hanabi said to Shin in a fit of pique. Hanabi! What nonsense are you spouting? I'm really going to get angry. Hinata glared at Hanabi, so embarrassed she didn't even dare to look at Shin. Hearing her sister's scolding, Hanabi smirked inwardly. Don't think I'm little and don't understand anything. Big sis, you're clearly very happy about this in your heart, aren't you? Chapter 363, Sundara ruins everything. Under Shin's instruction, Hanabi assumed the stance and continued practicing the gentle fist. Just so we're clear, I don't want you to teach me. You're the one who insisted, Hanabi said, her voice dripping with Sundara's trademark haughty disdain. Thwack! Shin tapped Hanabi's small head. Don't be so Sundara at such a young age. Haven't you heard? Sundara ruins everything. Nowadays, Sundara wasn't in vogue anymore. Sundara characters usually ended up as the losing party, mostly due to their own actions. I am not Sundara. Hanabi glared angrily at Shin, only to receive another tap on her head. She immediately became obedient. Outwardly compliant, inwardly aggrieved. Damn it! Always bullying little girls. You big meanie. When I master the gentle fist, I'll turn you into a punching bag. What are you smirking about? Get into proper stance, will you? Shin poked Hanabi's cheek with his finger, snapping her back to reality. Hanabi had been lost in a mental image of herself, a master of the gentle fist, decimating Shin. The thought had unconsciously brought a silly grin to her face. Honestly, that goofy smile looked quite embarrassing. Even Hanabi herself felt a flush of shame. I've already mastered the gentle fist art, 8 trigrams 32 palms. Why do I have to keep practicing? Hanabi whined, her expression glum. Mastered? You're not even proficient yet. And proficient isn't mastered. Shin poked her cheek again. Big sis. Did you see that? He keeps touching me. He's taking advantage of me. Hanabi yelled angrily towards Hinata. Before Hinata could speak, Karen couldn't help but burst out laughing. Taking advantage of a flat-chested little girl? Really? Don't be ridiculous. Karen even deliberately flaunted her own figure at Hanabi, making Hanabi so angry she almost coughed up blood. So annoying. Humph. I'm still growing. I'll be bigger than you someday. Just you wait. Hanabi declared proudly. However, deep down, Hanabi wasn't very confident. Enough of that. Focus on your training, Shin told Hanabi, urging her to concentrate. Hanabi had indeed grasped the gentle fist art, 8 trigrams 32 palms, but she wasn't proficient yet. Shin was currently guiding her to achieve greater mastery. Then there was the issue of chakra. Although the gentle fist was a taijutsu style, it didn't mean it didn't require chakra. The reason the gentle fist could strike pressure points was because the chakra imbued in the palms sealed the opponent's tenketsu chakra points. Don't be so mean, or I'll hate you. Hanabi pouted but obediently resumed her training. She still harbored plans of defeating Shin, so naturally, she had to put in the effort. Unfortunately, some goals couldn't be achieved through effort alone. Hanabi was still young and didn't understand Shin's true strength, which was why she held on to this ambition. Having this goal was good though. It motivated Hanabi to work hard. Only through effort could one achieve results. Hanabi's inherent talent was also quite good. Teaching her wasn't particularly difficult for Shin. Not bad, little girl. You're training quite hard. I thought you'd be complaining about the difficulty by now. After 2 hours of training, Shin saw Hanabi still diligently practicing, a surprised expression on his face. She truly was working hard. Shin appreciated that. If one wasn't hard-working, even immense talent wouldn't lead to great achievements. This is nothing, Hanabi said, her tsundere expression returning. I told you before, tsundere ruins everything. Stop being tsundere in the future. Since you performed so well today, I'll give you a reward. Shin said, patting Hanabi's small head. Hanabi enjoyed Shin's head pats, but she was more curious about the reward Shin intended to give her. Shin and what reward are you going to give me? Hanabi's expression was full of undisguised anticipation. What kind of reward do you want? Shin didn't specify, instead asking Hanabi. I don't know. Hanabi placed a finger on her chin and began to think. It seemed she didn't particularly need anything. Since that's the case, then I'll reward you with a feast. That feels underwhelming. Hanabi rolled her eyes. Did he think she was easy to please? They ate feasts all the time. It's decided then. Shin ignored Hanabi's words, let her rest for a bit, then took Hinata, Karen, and Hanabi back home. Shin had timed their return perfectly. Just as they arrived, Makoto had finished cooking. Makoto's cooking is the best. I miss it if I don't eat it for a day. Is that so? Makoto asked, her tone questioning. Of course. I would never lie to you, Makoto. In terms of culinary skills, Makoto is #1 in the world. If you missed it so much, why did you stay away for so long? It seems my cooking isn't attractive enough for you. My skills still aren't up to par. Makoto glanced at Shin and said. Shin felt a bit awkward. Saying anything now wouldn't be good. So, he decided to just lower his head and eat. By the way, Hanabi, when are you planning to go back? Shin asked Hanabi after dinner, who was stuffed. Hanabi rubbed her round belly, then her face instantly filled with grievance. Are you trying to get rid of me? Hanabi looked pitifully at Shin, as if Shin had done something outrageous. Shin, I think Hanabi's happy here, Kushina said to Shin. She was very fond of Hanabi and naturally didn't want her to leave. Not just Kushina, but the other women felt similarly. They couldn't bear to let Hanabi leave. Shin was quite speechless. Don't any of you consider Hayashi Hyuga's feelings? Then Hanabi, do you want to go back? Shin asked Hanabi. If Hanabi said she didn't want to go back, Shin wouldn't force her. Actually, Shin quite liked this little girl Hanabi too. And with Hanabi around, the place was more lively. I don't want to go back. Hanabi said without hesitation, absolutely no reluctance. Thinking about facing her father's strict training upon returning made Hanabi shiver. Although Hanabi also trained hard with Shin, it was a completely different feeling from being forced to train. No one liked being forced, especially a little girl like Hanabi. Since you don't want to go back, I won't take you back. As for whether Hayashi Hyuga will come looking for you, that's none of my business, Shin said with a shrug. Hanabi was relieved by this. Her father definitely wouldn't come looking for her. He was so busy he barely had time to go home, he certainly wouldn't have time to come here and take her back. Chapter 364, Orochimaru hits a wall. Orochimaru-sama, can this place really heal your arms? Kabuto Yakushi asked, light glinting off his glasses as he looked up at Orochimaru. Of course. If Shin is willing, he can heal anything. Orochimaru's face was confident. This confidence stemmed from his faith in Shin. The Reaper Death Seal was originally an Uzumaki clan sealing technique. Shin Uzumaki should have a way to break it. Kabuto's eyes flickered, but he said nothing, only following closely behind Orochimaru like a loyal subordinate. After the Konoha Crush plan, Orochimaru had fled back to Otogakure. He had tried every conceivable method to restore his arms, but all had failed. With no other options, Orochimaru had come to the land of whirlpools to seek Shin's help. Losing the use of his arms was a devastating blow to his combat strength. After all, performing ninjutsu required hand seals. Without hands, how could he form them? A ninja unable to form hand seals was practically useless, their combat power severely diminished. Orochimaru's current strength was likely not much greater than Kabuto Yakushi's. Of course, Kabuto wouldn't dare attack Orochimaru. He was afraid. Kabuto held Orochimaru in deep awe. The moment Orochimaru and Kabuto set foot in the land of whirlpools, Shin knew. The entire land of whirlpools was constantly within his sensory range. I suspected Orochimaru would come. And now, he's finally here. Hinata, you continue guiding Hanabi's training. Shin said to Hinata nearby. Okay. Hinata nodded in agreement. These past few days, Hinata had been watching Shin teach Hanabi and had gained some insight into guiding her. Shin flickered and reappeared before Orochimaru and Kabuto, who had just arrived in the land of whirlpools. Seeing Shin appear instantly, without any warning, Orochimaru was momentarily stunned, then a smile spread across his face. Shin, it's been a while. No one visits a temple without a reason. Orochimaru, you're here for something, aren't you? Because of your hands? Shin had guessed long ago that Orochimaru would seek either him or Tsunade. But regardless of who he sought, he would have to come to the land of whirlpools. Kabuto Yakushi sized up Shin, then lowered his head. He knew he had no right to speak here. He just needed to listen obediently. You're as perceptive as ever, Shin. I did come to ask for your help. Orochimaru maintained his smile. He was, after all, asking for a favor. Asking for my help isn't impossible. The soles of your arms are sealed, but that's not a problem for me. However, what's in it for me? Shin wasn't running a charity. Just because Orochimaru asked for help didn't mean he would provide it. Unless Orochimaru could offer something that interested him, Shin would send him away. In fact, Shin was already planning to send Orochimaru away. The reason was simple: Shin didn't particularly need anything. If he truly wanted something, Shin could obtain it himself. If he couldn't get it, Orochimaru certainly couldn't provide it either. Orochimaru fell into deep thought. He knew seeking Shin Uzumaki's help wouldn't be easy. What do you want, Shin? Name your price. I'll do my best to meet your demands. Orochimaru said seriously. His arms had to be restored. Otherwise, his combat strength would be reduced by at least half. Save your breath. I have no requests, leave. Now. Before I escort you out. Shin waved his hand dismissively. If Shin escorted them, it would likely involve a Shinra Tensei that would blast them back to whence they came, leaving nothing but paste behind. Seeing Shin's impatient expression, Orochimaru frowned. If it were anyone else, he could use force or coercion. But this was Shin Uzumaki. If he tried, he'd be signing his own death warrant. This was why Orochimaru hadn't brought Kimimaro. If Kimimaro were here, he might attack Shin Uzumaki out of loyalty to Orochimaru. But the outcome would be certain death for them both. It seems Shin doesn't want to help. Then I can only look for other methods. Goodbye. Orochimaru didn't press further. He knew pestering Shin would be futile and might even anger him, leading to worse consequences. Orochimaru left with Kabuto Yakushi. Having hit a wall with Shin, he had to find another solution. After watching them leave, Shin turned and went back. Honestly, if Orochimaru possessed something that interested him, Shin wouldn't mind helping. Unfortunately, Orochimaru had nothing Shin wanted. Or rather, Shin's standards were too high. Orochimaru's possessions didn't impress him. Including the forbidden jutsu, living corpse reincarnation. Shin looked down on that too. The jutsu had significant flaws. Each reincarnation damaged the user's soul. To successfully occupy another's body, one had to battle their soul for control. Only the victor could command the vessel. If Orochimaru continued using this jutsu, he would likely end up destroying himself. Of course, whether Orochimaru destroyed himself or not was none of Shin's concern. After returning, Shin continued guiding Hanabi's training. Hanabi had been quite diligent lately, perhaps motivated by her desire to defeat him. Though impossible, it was a good goal. Having such an objective was beneficial for Hanabi. Shin-sama, what were you doing earlier? When Shin returned, he found Karen also there, holding a fruit platter. Hanabi looked at the fruit platter, already drooling, but Karen wouldn't let Hanabi eat any, which made Hanabi quite angry. Nothing much. Just a couple of guys came to the land of whirlpools. I sent them away, Shin said after sitting down. Seeing Shin sit, Karen immediately sat beside him and diligently offered him the fruit platter. I prepared this for you, Shin-sama. Try some, Karen said, looking at Shin with an expectant gaze. Shin wouldn't refuse such a kind gesture. He picked up a piece of unidentifiable fruit with a toothpick. Yes, unidentifiable. It was a fruit native to the land of whirlpools, not found elsewhere. It tasted good and wasn't poisonous, but its name was unknown. Big sis. Hanabi called out to Hinata. Hanabi, what is it? Hinata asked Hanabi, puzzled. I think Big Sis needs to be more proactive. Otherwise, Karen, that simp, is going to win him over, Hanabi whispered into Hinata's ear. Hinata's face instantly turned red. She understood Hanabi's meaning, but where did Hanabi learn the term simp? That's too rude. She'd have to correct her sister's language later. Chapter 365, Hanabi playing with fire. Hinata disciplined Hanabi for her inappropriate comments, leaving Hanabi feeling quite frustrated. Sigh, my dumb big sister, always bossing me around. Hanabi propped her chin on her hand, pouting like a miniature adult. Hanabi, do you want some fruit? If you don't come now, there won't be any left, Shin called out to Hanabi. Hanabi, who had stopped training to rest, stood up and trotted over to Shin with her short legs. Yes. Of course, I want some. Don't eat it all. This little foodie Hanabi would never pass up delicious food. Hinata, what was Hanabi whispering to you so mysteriously just now? Karen asked Hinata, incredibly curious. And nothing. Hinata naturally wouldn't tell Karen. If she did, Karen would definitely get angry. After all, Hanabi had just called Karen a simp. Karen felt frustrated. It seemed she wouldn't get an answer from Hinata. As for Hanabi, this little lowly, Karen had no hope of getting anything out of her. Expecting Hanabi to tell her was less likely than expecting a pig to climb a tree. What are you looking at? Hanabi put on a fierce expression and glared at Karen. I wasn't looking at you. Karen glared back at Hanabi, not to be outdone. Karen, why are you always bickering with Hanabi? Shin couldn't help but ask. He remembered they used to get along quite well. Now, they seemed to fight every time they met. Shin-sama, it's not me. It's this little brat who's looking for trouble. Karen immediately shirked responsibility, placing all the blame on Hanabi. Nonsense. You were jealous of me earlier. Hanabi retorted defiantly to Karen. Hinata, let's go. Let these two bicker here slowly. Shin stood up, took Hinata's hand, and headed home. Being held by Shin, Hinata felt very shy, lowering her head to hide her blush. However, she quickly remembered Hanabi's words. Being this shy isn't good. Her resolve firmed, and she looked up at Shin. Gripping Shin's hand tightly, Hinata followed behind him, seeming somewhat less shy than before. Shin glanced back at Hinata. He had noticed the subtle change in her. She seemed a bit different from before. Wait for us. Karen and Hanabi, forgetting their argument, immediately chased after Shin and Hinata. Why are you back so early today? Mei Terumi asked, surprised to see Shin and the others return. I missed you, so I came back early. Shin looked at Mei Terumi and smiled gently. Heh, I don't believe you. Mei Terumi wasn't pleased. Instead, she let out a cold chuckle. She knew instantly Shin was joking. Being too smart isn't good. I prefer you a little dumber. Shin walked over and pulled Mei Terumi into his embrace. I'd rather you be less intelligent, you big dummy. Mei Terumi huffed lightly, then playfully brushed Shin with her hair and giggled, slipping out of his embrace. Consider yourself lucky you ran fast. Otherwise, hee-hee. What do you mean by hee-hee? Are you planning to punish Mei Terumi? If so, I can help you catch her, Kushina volunteered eagerly. Kushina, what did I ever do to you? Mei Terumi looked at Kushina indignantly. Nothing. I just want to see you suffer. Kushina's eyes sparkled with amusement. The house felt too quiet, she wanted to stir things up. You'll regret this. Mei Terumi huffed lightly, threatening Kushina back. Mei, I'll help you out. Tsunade immediately supported Mei Terumi. Tsunade had also wanted to deal with Kushina for a long time. Alone, she definitely couldn't handle Kushina. Are you two ganging up on me, the main wife? Don't forget, I have 2 helpers by my side. Kushina pointed at Makoto and Konan. Konan, seeing Kushina point at her, blinked in confusion, then quickly waved her hands. I'm not getting involved. Sorry, Kushina. Actually, Konan and I are on the same side. As for you calling yourself the main wife, Kushina, I find that rather presumptuous. Makoto smiled at Kushina. Kushina looked at Makoto and Konan with a heartbroken expression. I can't believe you two actually betrayed me. Don't be dramatic. Who let you call yourself the main wife, Kushina? And don't say betrayal, it sounds so harsh. Makoto pushed away the dramatically heartbroken Kushina. And I considered you my best friend. We're done. Kushina huffed angrily and threw herself into Shin's arms, seeking comfort. Shin, the melon-eating bystander, patted Kushina's soft hair while munching on his metaphorical melon seeds. Kushina, how many times have you broken up with Makoto? I've lost count, Tsunade asked Kushina. Humph. This time I'm serious. Makoto, we're really done. We're not good sisters anymore. Kushina huffed lightly, looking at Makoto. All right. Makoto smiled and nodded, completely unaffected by Kushina's words. Hey! Makoto, are you that heartless? Shouldn't you be crying and begging me not to break up with you right now? Kushina, seeing Makoto agree so readily, became embarrassed and angry, lunging towards Makoto. Kushina, stop imagining things, alright? Makoto immediately grabbed Kushina's hands. Kushina had wanted to tickle her, and Makoto was extremely ticklish. If Kushina really started, she might end up begging for mercy in a humiliating way. To avoid such embarrassment, Makoto naturally couldn't let Kushina act. Let me go. Kushina struggled, realizing she couldn't break free. Makoto rolled her eyes at Kushina. Shin sat beside them, watching their playful antics. Such grown-ups, still acting like little kids. Hanabi looked at Kushina and Makoto with disdain, speaking in a mature, old-fashioned tone. Kushina and Makoto, who had been wrestling, suddenly stopped, their gazes fixed on the little girl Hanabi. Seeing Kushina and Makoto both staring at her, Hanabi instantly panicked. This doesn't look good. I was just kidding. Please don't hurt me. Hanabi put on a pitiful expression. Hanabi, trying to gain sympathy with that pitiful look again? Makoto smiled at Hanabi. Makoto's smile made Hanabi feel extreme danger. She subconsciously tried to run towards Shin, seeking his protection. Alas, she was a step too late. How could she possibly escape from Makoto and Kushina? They caught her simultaneously. Let's go, Hanabi. Let's take you to the room and have a good discussion about some things. Kushina and Makoto led the small, pitiful, and helpless Hanabi to Kushina's room. As for what happened afterward, Shin didn't see, but he heard Hanabi's wailing pleas for mercy. Chapter 366, Kidnapping Sasuke Uchiha. At the Konoha hospital, Sasuke Uchiha emerged, his face dark and sullen. His wrist, broken by Itachi Uchiha, had healed, but the image of his own weakness and helplessness against Itachi was deeply seared into his mind. Sasuke, why didn't you tell us you were being discharged? Naruto Uzumaki and Sakura Haruno rushed over, Naruto complaining to Sasuke. Sasuke didn't even look at Naruto or Sakura, merely walking past them coolly. Hey! Sasuke, what's with the attitude? Naruto, seeing Sasuke ignore him completely, fumed. Naruto, quiet down. Sasuke must be feeling terrible right now, Sakura said, punching Naruto. Violent woman, Naruto muttered under his breath, not daring to let Sakura hear. Sasuke returned alone to his residence, which was still within the Uchiha compound, now located on the outskirts of Konoha. Who's there? Suddenly, Sasuke Uchiha sensed someone following him. He stopped and looked back.
Sasuke-kun, it's been a while. Orochimaru-sama misses you very much. Kabuto Yakushi appeared, a benign smile on his face, though it looked somewhat artificial. So it's you. Orochimaru's lackey. Sasuke recognized Kabuto. During the Konoha crush, Kabuto was the one who had helped Orochimaru escape. Kabuto's face turned grim, a flash of killing intent in his eyes as he looked at Sasuke Uchiha. Even though Kabuto considered himself patient, being called a lackey still infuriated him. Though I may be a lackey, you're not much better, the Uchiha clan's only surviving stray dog. Kabuto stated flatly. Knowing Sasuke's strong pride, Kabuto didn't mind retaliating verbally. Do you have a death wish? Sasuke, enraged, didn't hesitate. Fire style, great fireball jutsu, he formed hand seals and spewed a large fireball towards Kabuto. Kabuto frowned, using a ninjutsu to block Sasuke's attack, then instantly flickered to Sasuke's side. So fast. Sasuke's eyes widened. He immediately activated his Sharingan, trying to track Kabuto's movements, but it was too late. By the time Sasuke activated his Sharingan, Kabuto had already struck the back of Sasuke's neck with a hand chop. Sasuke Uchiha fainted. Kabuto unhesitatingly grabbed Sasuke and quickly departed. Kabuto was here on Orochimaru's orders to capture Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke's earlier ninjutsu attack might attract Konoha's Umbu. Kabuto had to leave as quickly as possible. Unlike the original story where Orochimaru lured Sasuke into defecting, this time Orochimaru had ordered Sasuke to be captured directly. After hitting a wall with Shin, Orochimaru was in a particularly foul mood. Unable to heal his arms, Orochimaru's temper had become volatile. Furthermore, having lost the Sound 4, Orochimaru was short on usable subordinates and had no time to play games with Sasuke Uchiha. Once Sasuke was brought back, Orochimaru had ways to persuade him. Itachi Uchiha was Sasuke's greatest weakness. Orochimaru had seen through that long ago. Kabuto's skills were impressive. He easily captured Sasuke Uchiha and spirited him away from Konoha. After leaving Konoha, Kabuto rushed towards Otogakure. He knew that if Konoha discovered Sasuke's abduction, they would definitely send pursuers. Kabuto didn't have much time, he had to return to Otogakure quickly to ensure his own safety. To avoid any accidents, Kabuto gave Sasuke Uchiha a drug that would keep him unconscious for a day. Not long after, Kabuto Yakushi returned to Otogakure, to Orochimaru's secret base hidden within the village. You're back? Did you complete Orochimaru-sama's mission? Kimimaro looked coolly at Kabuto. Of course. Kabuto threw Sasuke Uchiha, whom he had been carrying on his back, onto the ground. Actually, Kimimaro had initially wanted to undertake this mission himself, to alleviate Orochimaru's troubles. However, Orochimaru had ordered Kabuto to go, while Kimimaro was to remain and guard the base. Kimimaro could only obey Orochimaru's command. Kimimaro was extremely loyal to Orochimaru. Even if Orochimaru ordered him to die, he probably wouldn't hesitate for a second. Kimimaro picked up Sasuke and brought him into the base, presenting him to the weakened Orochimaru. Orochimaru was somewhat weak because he had recently performed the living corpse reincarnation technique, transferring to a new body. Having failed to get Shin's help in the land of whirlpools, Orochimaru had no other choice but to use this method to restore his arms. It proved effective, but Orochimaru was very weak after the reincarnation, his soul considerably damaged. This was why Kimimaro hadn't been sent on this mission. Kimimaro was left behind to protect Orochimaru. Orochimaru knew Kimimaro was completely loyal. As for Kabuto Yakushi, Orochimaru didn't trust him 100%. You've brought Sasuke-kun back. Good work. Orochimaru looked at the still unconscious Sasuke Uchiha and smiled sinisterly. A prime vessel was ready. However, Orochimaru didn't plan to reincarnate immediately. The reason was simple. Having just undergone reincarnation, Orochimaru lacked the strength for another transfer. Kabuto, wake him up, Orochimaru instructed Kabuto. Yes, Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto had the drug to knock Sasuke out. Naturally, he also had the antidote. He administered the antidote to Sasuke,
and Sasuke quickly regained consciousness.
Where is this? Sasuke, just waking up, was a bit disoriented. Sasuke-kun, we meet again. Orochimaru's cold, sinister voice reached Sasuke's ears. Only then did Sasuke's gaze focus on Orochimaru. Orochimaru. Sasuke immediately became wary. This man was capable of throwing Konoha into crisis. Though Sasuke sometimes lacked intelligence, he wasn't foolish now. Orochimaru didn't care about Sasuke's wariness. Having been brought here, could Sasuke Uchiha possibly escape? Obviously not.
Besides, Orochimaru, having thoroughly studied Sasuke, knew persuading him wouldn't be particularly difficult.
Perhaps Sasuke would even willingly stay here. Why did you bring me here? Sasuke Uchiha questioned Orochimaru. Sasuke-kun, do you yearn for great power? The power to defeat Itachi Uchiha? Orochimaru chuckled, asking Sasuke. Orochimaru was confident of victory. Sasuke Uchiha was already his. Chapter 367, Naruto Uzumaki, where's my best bro?
Inside the damp, dark base, Sasuke Uchiha stared at Orochimaru with crazed eyes.
Can you give me the power to defeat that man?
Of course.
Obey me, and I'll grant you power beyond even Itachi Uchiha's. A fanatical gleam appeared in Orochimaru's eyes. He wanted to nurture Sasuke Uchiha, then take over his body. Well, Orochimaru wasn't afraid of his plans backfiring.
The Orochimaru from the original story did have his plans backfire.
I don't need your help.
Even with my own strength, I can defeat that man.
Sasuke Uchiha turned, preparing to leave.
However, just as Sasuke turned, a bone blade blocked his path.
Kimimaro looked at Sasuke expressionlessly. Are you trying to stop me? This time, Sasuke Uchiha activated his Sharingan beforehand, not wanting to be defeated by a sneak attack from Kabuto Yukushi like before. However, even with his Sharingan active and fighting at full strength, Sasuke was absolutely no match for Kimimaro. Kimimaro was currently dying from illness, but if he unleashed his full power, he could fight a Kage-level opponent.
Sasuke Uchiha, though possessing the Tsutomu Sharingan, was at best at the level of an elite Chunin. The gap was too vast.
Sasuke-kun, do you truly believe you can defeat Itachi Uchiha?
You should know, Itachi is the most talented individual I've ever seen, second only to Shin Uzumaki, Orochimaru said. Sasuke, who was about to attack, held back, turning his head to look at Orochimaru.
Is Shin Uzumaki really that strong? Sasuke Uchiha frowned, asking Orochimaru.
He remembered Kakashi saying earlier that Shin Uzumaki was the undisputed strongest in the shinobi world.
He's a monster. Even Itachi Uchiha is completely incomparable to Shin Uzumaki. Orochimaru felt a twinge of jealousy. Shin Uzumaki's strength was otherworldly.
He didn't know how Shin had obtained such power. If Itachi was a prodigy, then Shin was a god.
Sasuke Uchiha's brow furrowed even deeper.
Though he hated Itachi immensely, hearing this still made him feel somewhat displeased. Once upon a time, his older brother Itachi was the person he admired most, the strongest person he knew. Now, he had become the person Sasuke Uchiha wanted to kill most.
If Shin Uzumaki is so strong, why should I stay here with you? I'll go find him and ask him to train me. Sasuke Uchiha finished speaking and took a step, intending to leave. He. Orochimaru chuckled coldly, mocking Sasuke Uchiha's naivety. Why would Shin Uzumaki train him? You think he'll agree? You're delusional.
In the entire shinobi world right now, only I can help you, Orochimaru said flatly.
This was true.
Besides Orochimaru, who would help Sasuke Uchiha increase his strength for his own purposes, no one else could. As for Kakashi, Kakashi was still unconscious, taken down by Itachi Uchiha's Tsukuyomi. Though both had been subjected to Tsukuyomi, Sasuke Uchiha was fine, while Kakashi had remained unconscious since that day. His spirit was damaged. Kakashi wouldn't wake up for at least 10 days to half a month.
Why would you help me? You have your own motives, don't you? Sasuke Uchiha's intellect was online.
He turned back and asked with a cold smile.
Nothing falls from the sky for free. A person like Orochimaru definitely had a purpose. Indeed. I do have a motive. Because I have a grudge against Itachi Uchiha. I also want to see Itachi Uchiha die. Orochimaru had already prepared his excuse. And it was indeed true, Orochimaru did want Itachi to die. Occupy Sasuke Uchiha's body, kill Itachi Uchiha, then gouge out his Mangekyo Sharingan to obtain the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. This was Orochimaru's goal. Looking up at Orochimaru, Sasuke Uchiha didn't know if he should believe him. Returning to Konoha, you won't be able to get revenge. No one in Konoha can guide you to a level where you can defeat Itachi Uchiha. Only by accepting my tutelage do you have a chance. I won't wait for your answer now. Think about it carefully yourself. Orochimaru didn't expect Sasuke Uchiha to agree immediately. However, Orochimaru was absolutely confident that Sasuke would eventually stay. Sasuke Uchiha wanted to leave. Orochimaru didn't stop him. But just because Orochimaru didn't stop him didn't mean others wouldn't. Kimimaro blocked Sasuke Uchiha, preventing him from leaving. As for fighting, Sasuke Uchiha was directly beaten down.
Kimimaro showed no mercy, at most refraining from killing Sasuke Uchiha, thoroughly letting Sasuke experience what true weakness felt like.
This was also Orochimaru's instruction, part of his plan. Only by making Sasuke Uchiha fully experience weakness could he make him agree more quickly.
The effect was surprisingly good, even exceeding Orochimaru's original expectations.
In just 2 days, Sasuke Uchiha agreed to stay.
And to show his determination, he even scratched a line across his forehead protector. From then on, he was a missing nin of Konoha. Orochimaru was very pleased by this.
He would now focus on nurturing Sasuke Uchiha.
Actually, the reason Sasuke Uchiha agreed, besides being beaten quite badly, was because he had another idea in mind. His current strength was insufficient, escape was impossible. Why not increase his strength, kill Orochimaru, and then leave? Use Orochimaru to increase his strength, then kick him aside when he was no longer useful.
Wouldn't that work? This was Sasuke Uchiha's current plan. One had to admit, Sasuke Uchiha's heart was also quite dark.
Orochimaru and Sasuke Uchiha, each with their own agendas, both harbored ill intentions.
Meanwhile, in Konoha, several days had passed since Sasuke Uchiha's disappearance. Naruto Uzumaki was frantic.
His best friend was gone just like that.
My best bro, where did he go? How did he suddenly disappear? Pervy Sage. Have you sent anyone to look for Sasuke yet?
Naruto barged into the Hokage tower again, entering the Hokage office and clamoring at Jiraiya. Jiraiya, seeing Naruto appear again, looked utterly distressed.
This annoying brat Naruto is here again. I've already sent people to look. If there's any news, I'll tell you immediately. Can you please not disturb my work right now?
Jiraiya indicated he still had a mountain of work to do.
Where did he find time to waste on Naruto? It's been so many days. Sasuke wouldn't have gotten into trouble, would he?
Naruto sat on the floor, dejected. Jiraiya sighed. He didn't know why Naruto and that kid Sasuke Uchiha were so close. Perhaps this was their bond, just like his and Orochimaru's.
Chapter 368.
The reward for Orochimaru.
Naruto, can you please leave and let me finish my work? Once I have news about Sasuke Uchiha, I'll inform you immediately.
Jiraiya said to Naruto. He couldn't let Naruto stay here indefinitely, it was affecting his work efficiency.
No. Pervy Sage, I don't think you're even looking seriously. If there's no news about Sasuke, I'm not leaving.
Naruto stared stubbornly at Jiraiya.
Jiraiya clutched his head.
If Naruto weren't Minato's son and if he didn't have a soft spot for Naruto, Jiraiya would have definitely thrown this brat out. Lord Hokage, we have news about Sasuke Uchiha.
A ninja entered the room, wearing a mask and Umbu operative. Great. Hurry up and tell me.
Naruto immediately stood up and grabbed the Umbu's hand. The Umbu ninja glanced at Naruto, then addressed Jiraiya. According to our investigation, Sasuke Uchiha was taken away by Orochimaru's subordinate, Kabuto Yukoshi.
What? He was captured by Orochimaru? What are we waiting for, pervy sage? Let's go save Sasuke.
Hearing Orochimaru's subordinate had taken Sasuke, Naruto became frantic, urging Jiraiya to rescue Sasuke Uchiha.
You may leave.
Jiraiya solemnly dismissed the Umbu ninja.
Orochimaru's subordinate took Sasuke Uchiha? What is he planning?
Jiraiya felt uneasy. As for Naruto clamoring for him to rescue Sasuke, Jiraiya honestly didn't want to. Firstly, Jiraiya had no particular feelings for Sasuke Uchiha. He had met Sasuke, but Sasuke's attitude towards him had been poor, arrogant, even excessively so. Precisely because of this arrogance, Jiraiya disliked him, especially since Sasuke harbored a twisted, vengeful hatred.
Keeping him in Konoha was like harboring an unstable element. Letting Orochimaru's subordinate take him away wasn't necessarily a bad thing.
Another reason was Konoha's current situation.
It wasn't advisable to antagonize Orochimaru. Naruto, go home for now. As for rescuing Sasuke Uchiha, we need to plan carefully.
I'll make arrangements.
Jiraiya intended to send Naruto away first.
No. If you don't do anything, pervy sage, then I'll go myself.
Naruto stood up angrily and started walking towards the door.
Jiraiya's face darkened. He flickered over and grabbed Naruto, tossing him aside.
Do you even know where Orochimaru is? Can you bring Sasuke Uchiha back? It's better than doing nothing. Now that I know Sasuke was captured by Orochimaru, I'll definitely save him. Naruto's eyes shone with unwavering determination.
Looking at Naruto's determined expression, Jiraiya sighed.
All right.
I promise I'll go rescue Sasuke Uchiha.
But we need to find Orochimaru's location first. Only then can we act. Jiraiya nodded at Naruto. For now, he had to agree.
Pervy sage, you better not be tricking me. Naruto looked at Jiraiya suspiciously, which made Jiraiya's liver ache with frustration. Right now, Jiraiya had no intention of deceiving Naruto. He knew Naruto wouldn't rest until Sasuke Uchiha was rescued, so Jiraiya genuinely planned to save him.
However, there was a condition: Sasuke Uchiha had to be willing to return. But based on Jiraiya's understanding of Orochimaru and Sasuke Uchiha, Sasuke might already be a missing nin by then. If that truly happens, I hope Naruto won't be heartbroken.
Jiraiya didn't care about Sasuke Uchiha's fate, he was worried about Naruto.
He just hoped Naruto wouldn't react too drastically. Though these were just Jiraiya's speculations, his guesses were usually accurate. He trusted his intuition. Naruto was sent away by Jiraiya.
Then, Jiraiya dispatched Umbu to investigate Orochimaru's base with all their resources.
As the strongest hidden village, Konoha was quite capable. Finding Orochimaru's base wasn't impossible. After considerable effort, they finally located Orochimaru's base. Let's go, Naruto.
I'll take you myself.
Jiraiya decided to go personally. He also wanted to see Orochimaru again.
However, Jiraiya brought a bodyguard with him, Might Guy. If Kakashi were awake, he probably would have brought Kakashi too.
Konoha's affairs were temporarily left in the hands of Hamura Midokado and Koharu Utatane. Jiraiya trusted they could handle things. He had also instructed them not to let Danzo interfere in Konoha's internal matters.
Lord Hokage, I still think this is somewhat dangerous, Guy said cautiously to Jiraiya.
The Hokage absolutely shouldn't leave Konoha easily. If anything unexpected happened, Guy truly couldn't bear the responsibility. It's fine. Jiraiya shook his head.
He had spent years traveling outside the village before, and nothing had happened. Facing Orochimaru, Jiraiya wasn't afraid. Guy said nothing more. Even if it cost him his life, he would absolutely protect Lord Hokage.
Meanwhile, at Orochimaru's location, Shin Uzumaki was currently there.
Shin had come here because Orochimaru had specifically notified him.
Shin currently held a document in his hand, Orochimaru's research data on Shikatsu Miyaku. Shin-kun, I've spent so many years researching, and this is all I've managed. Continuing this research.
I'm afraid I won't discover anything further, Orochimaru said to Shin.
Though these things are useless to me, you've worked hard, Orochimaru. Let me give you some compensation. Shin hadn't expected Orochimaru to be so diligent.
He himself had almost forgotten about this matter.
It had been nearly 10 years since Shin asked Orochimaru to research Shikatsu Miyaku.
Although the research data was largely useless to Shin, seeing Orochimaru's attitude, Shin felt he should offer some reward, otherwise, he'd feel a bit embarrassed.
Oh? I wonder what kind of reward Shin-kun will give me. Orochimaru looked at Shin expectantly, not saying anything about refusing. Are you kidding? How could he refuse a reward from Shin Uzumaki?
A ball of chakra appeared in Shin's hand. He tossed it towards Orochimaru, and the chakra instantly merged into Orochimaru's body.
This is...
Orochimaru looked at Shin in shock, clearly sensing a change within himself, especially a change in his soul. The damage from his body transfers was fading, it had actually healed. Orochimaru felt better than ever.
Your reward.
I helped heal your current injuries, Shin said to Orochimaru. Orochimaru likely already felt it, his weakened body was no longer weak.
Orochimaru clenched his fists.
Indeed, his current state was excellent, even better than his peak condition.
Chapter 369, Not Bullying the Weak.
Orochimaru adjusted to the changes in his body, then looked curiously at Shin.
How did you heal my injuries, Shin? Orochimaru had thought his injuries were irreversible.
He knew the extent of his damage better than anyone. I don't think I need to explain that to you, Shin glanced coolly at Orochimaru.
It was presumptuous of me to ask. Though disappointed, Orochimaru didn't press further. Doing so might annoy Shin.
By the way, Orochimaru, let me give you a free piece of news. You're probably in for some trouble. Shin said to Orochimaru with a smile.
Trouble for me? Orochimaru paused. What kind of trouble could he be in? Are the Akatsuki planning to move against me? That was the only trouble Orochimaru could think of at the moment. Jiraiya is right outside your base. Shin didn't keep him in suspense.
He had originally planned to leave, but now, not wanting to miss the show, he decided to stay.
Jiraiya? Orochimaru's expression darkened.
Honestly, Jiraiya's recent transformation surprised even him.
To think Jiraiya could master Sage Mode, Orochimaru coveted Sage Mode greatly.
He had tried to learn it before but failed. Now, even if Orochimaru wanted to learn it, there was no one to teach him.
The White Snake Sage had been eliminated by Shin. The other great snakes in Ryuchi Cave didn't know Sage Mode, so they couldn't teach him. Thus, Kabuto Yakushi in the future would also have no chance to learn Ryuchi Cave's Sage Mode. Ryuchi Cave's Sage Mode was now a lost art.
Soon, a small snake slithered up to Orochimaru. It was one of the scout snakes he had placed outside, now reporting an intrusion.
Looks like it's unavoidable. Orochimaru knew he couldn't hide any longer. But he wasn't afraid. In his previous weakened state, Orochimaru would have definitely thought of fleeing.
But now, thanks to Shin, his condition was excellent. Even in a fight against Jiraiya, Orochimaru didn't think he had no chance. As for Jiraiya's Sage Mode, he had to be able to use it first.
Even the strongest power was useless if it couldn't be deployed. And interrupting the activation of Sage Mode was incredibly easy. The inability to instantly enter Sage Mode was its biggest weakness. In a battle, who would give you time to prepare? I'd quite like to see a battle between you Sannin. Should I call Tsunade over? Shin mused. Orochimaru's mouth twitched.
If Tsunade really came, he and Jiraiya together probably wouldn't be a match for her. Tsunade had been with Shin for so many years Orochimaru couldn't guess her current strength, but it was definitely far superior to his own, and not just by a little. Orochimaru, do you want to witness Wood release?
If you do, I can call Tsunade over, Shin asked Orochimaru with a smile. No need. I've already witnessed the legendary wood release. Orochimaru said immediately. He had seen it when he reanimated the first Hokage. So, it was best not to see Tsunade. He believed that if he saw Tsunade, she would definitely attack him. The reason was simple: he had reanimated her grandfather and granduncle. That was tantamount to desecrating the souls of the dead. It would be strange if Tsunade didn't beat him to death. Orochimaru didn't want to test that theory. The consequence of testing it would likely be actually getting beaten to death. Orochimaru, who cherished his life, wouldn't dare play such games. When it came to Tsunade, it was best to avoid her if possible, to try not to meet her at all. Jiraiya has already entered. I'll go deal with him. Orochimaru gestured to Kimimaro, Kabuto Yakushi, and Sasuke, then went to confront Jiraiya. If too many Konoha ninja arrived, Orochimaru would have to flee with Sasuke, leaving Kimimaro and Kabuto to cover their retreat. Yes, Kimimaro, who was utterly loyal to him, and Kabuto, who was quite capable and had helped him greatly, were both less important than Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke Uchiha was Orochimaru's most important vessel. Others could be abandoned, but not Sasuke. At this moment, Sasuke Uchiha gave Shin a deep look, then followed Orochimaru. Interesting. I hope this won't disappoint me. Shin felt his boring life was about to get another dose of drama. Now, he just had to see if the show was good. Orochimaru. Jiraiya, upon entering, hadn't even finished speaking when he saw Shin casually walking over from behind. Shin, why are you here too? Jiraiya frowned. Shin being here was troublesome. Who knew what he was doing here? If he helped Orochimaru, it would be really problematic. Jiraiya, don't worry so much. At most, I'll just watch the show. I won't interfere. I wouldn't stoop to bullying the weak. Shin waved his hand at Jiraiya, offering some reassurance. But Jiraiya still felt incredibly awkward. Not bullying the weak? Does that mean I'm already considered weak in his eyes? Perhaps he was unwilling to admit it, but it was indeed the truth. In Shin's eyes, they were all weak. However, since Shin said he wouldn't interfere, Jiraiya felt a sense of relief. With Shin's strength, he probably wouldn't lie. There was no need to deceive him, nor was there any reason to. Jiraiya, to think you could find this place. I underestimated your abilities. Orochimaru's eyes held a hint of surprise. He truly was surprised Jiraiya had found him. Orochimaru considered his base extremely well hidden. Why is Sasuke Uchiha with you? Jiraiya grabbed the somewhat impulsive Naruto beside him and questioned Orochimaru. Actually, upon seeing the scratched forehead protector on Sasuke Uchiha, Jiraiya's heart had already sunk. Just as he had suspected, Sasuke Uchiha had become a missing nin. Sasuke-kun is no longer a ninja of Konoha, Orochimaru replied coolly. What did you say, you damn snake? Naruto blared angrily at Orochimaru. Orochimaru's cold, sinister gaze fixed on Naruto. Naruto, step back. Jiraiya glanced at Naruto, then said to Guy, make sure you protect Naruto later. Guy's face showed a hint of conflict. Under normal circumstances, protecting Naruto was the right thing to do. But with the Hokage here, wasn't his duty to protect the Hokage? You seem to value this Ninetales Jinchuriki brat quite highly. Orochimaru glanced at Jiraiya, his mind already scheming. Orochimaru, perhaps it's time to settle the grudge between us. This time, I absolutely will not hold back. Jiraiya took a deep breath, avoiding Orochimaru's question. Chapter 370, Copying the 8 Inner Gates. Shin used wood release to create a chair, then settled in to watch the impending battle between Orochimaru and Jiraiya. He felt like he was missing some popcorn. Is that wood release? Both Orochimaru and Jiraiya stared intently at the wooden chair Shin had created. Orochimaru wasn't overly surprised. He wouldn't be shocked by anything Shin Uzumaki could do anymore. Jiraiya, however, was genuinely astonished. But now wasn't the time to marvel at wood release. He had to focus on Orochimaru. Naruto, leave this place, Jiraiya instructed Naruto. No. I'm not going.
Naruto refused, his gaze fixed on Sasuke.
That lovesick look. If I had a teammate like that, I'd slap him dead. Shin glanced at Naruto and said flatly.
Naruto, the weak, was always so stubborn and defiant, refusing to obey orders. If it were Shin, he would have eliminated such a liability to avoid being dragged down. Being weak wasn't the issue, the problem was lacking self-awareness. And protagonists in shonen anime were often like that. Jiraiya was helpless.
He instructed Guy to watch over Naruto and prevent any accidents.
As for himself, Jiraiya had no time to spare for Naruto, he had to face Orochimaru. Just as Jiraiya was about to say a few more words to Orochimaru, he suddenly sensed danger. A chill ran down his spine. He quickly used the body flicker technique to dodge a spotted snake that lunged at him from behind. The snake was clearly venomous, a single bite could be fatal.
Orochimaru truly fought dirty, resorting to sneak attacks. Many hidden shadow snake hands. Orochimaru didn't give Jiraiya a chance to breathe. Countless snakes were summoned, swarming towards Jiraiya. Shin watched intently. He couldn't predict the outcome of this battle between Orochimaru and Jiraiya.
In terms of pure strength, Shin believed Jiraiya was stronger, especially with Sage Mode. Sage Mode was a powerful trump card, enhancing all aspects of one's abilities by tens, even dozens of times. However, actually using Sage Mode in a real battle would be difficult for Jiraiya. Of course, the main issue was that Jiraiya wasn't as ruthless as Orochimaru. Orochimaru wouldn't hesitate to kill Jiraiya, but Jiraiya would definitely hesitate to kill Orochimaru. Precisely because of this, the fight was interesting to Shin. If the outcome was obvious from the start, it would be boring. Fire release, Great Flame Bullet. This technique involved first refining chakra into oil, then igniting it with fire release as it was spewed out, creating a violent conflagration.
Sizzle.
A scorched, acrid smell filled the air, the scent of Orochimaru's snakes being roasted and burned.
It was quite unpleasant.
Shin held his breath, not wanting to inhale the foul odor.
Shikatsumiyaku, 10-finger drilling bullets. Kimimaro seized the opportunity and attacked Jiraiya.
As long as I'm here, don't even think about harming Lord Hokage. Guy jumped out, intercepting Kimimaro's attack for Jiraiya.
8 inner gates, Gate of Joy open.
This was the 6th of the 8 inner gates, Guy's strongest sustainable combat state. Though he could open the 7th gate, the Gate of Shock, the strain on his body was too great, Guy couldn't maintain it for long. It was a last resort, not to be used lightly. As for the 8th gate, the Gate of Death, that was his ultimate trump card, only to be used in desperate situations.
Once opened, there was no turning back. Astonishing chakra, even Orochimaru couldn't help but look at Guy. Guy now possessed the power to threaten him.
Jiraiya also highly recognized Guy's strength. Honestly, if Guy's way of thinking wasn't so unconventional, Jiraiya might have even considered him for Hokage.
But after observation, Jiraiya concluded Guy wasn't suited for the role.
No matter how strong, he was just a fighter, lacking leadership qualities. Jiraiya's tentative choice for the next Hokage was Kakashi. He planned to train Kakashi and then step down, handing the position over. He had never wanted to be Hokage anyway. If not for the lack of other candidates, Jiraiya would have never accepted the role.
Morning Peacock.
Guy roared, his fists blurring into a flurry of afterimages, the friction with the air creating countless flames that rained down on Kimimaro, resembling a peacock displaying its tail. Kimimaro, seeing this, immediately used Shikatsumiyaku, forming a shield of bone in front of him to block Guy's attack.
Might be worth copying the 8 inner gates, Shin thought. Seeing Guy use it, Shin's interest was piqued. The 8 inner gates was indeed a powerful forbidden technique. In the hands of a stronger individual, its power would be even greater. Besides, Shin wasn't short on replication cards. A single advanced replication card could copy it. It seemed like a worthwhile investment. Having decided, Shin didn't hesitate. He consumed one advanced replication card and copied Guy's 8 inner gates forbidden technique. All information regarding the 8 inner gates flooded Shin's mind. In a short moment, Shin had learned it. Honestly,
the 8 inner gates wasn't difficult to learn. The challenge lay in possessing a body capable of withstanding it.
Forcing the gates open with an inadequate physique could be fatal.
But for Shin, even opening the gate of death would be no problem.
When I have time, I'll try opening all 8 gates. The only prerequisite was finding an opponent. He couldn't just use it against thin air. Finding an opponent wasn't a major concern.
In a few years, Kagaya Otsutsuki would be unsealed. And that old geezer, the Sage of Six Paths. If Shin ever caught him, he'd definitely break his legs.
Don't ask why.
Killing that old geezer, the Sage of Six Paths, required no reason. An old schemer who had observed the shinobi world for over 1,000 years. If Shin had the chance to capture him, how could he let him go? Pushing those thoughts aside for now, Shin continued observing their battle.
Guy and Kimimoro's fight. Guy naturally had the upper hand, suppressing Kimimaro completely. Guy's relentless attacks left Kimimaro struggling to breathe. Meanwhile, Jiraiya and Orochimaru were locked in a fierce, evenly matched battle.
It was difficult to tell who was stronger at the moment. Neither had gained a clear advantage, nor had either suffered significant losses.
As for Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha,
they were currently engaged in an intense, affectionate staring contest. Just looking at them, one could feel the palpable bromance. That wraps up this part of What If Copy System in Naruto.
Thanks so much for listening.
As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well.
See you in the next one.